On today's episode, Eddie and Webby prove that there's life on Mars. This is the Eddie and Webby Podcast.
Hello, ma'am. I'm calling from the electrical company. Can you please check and make sure your refrigerator is running? Well, you better go catch it. Oh, hey, how's it going? This is Webby, not Eddie.
And I'm Eddie, and this is our 11th podcast.
Oh, yeah, episode number 11.
Yeah, we made it to number 11. There's been such a demand for the podcast that we did 1 through 10, and now we're at 11.
I can't even fathom this.
This is pretty amazing. We're super excited for episode 11. You guys know the drill. We talk beer, we talk tech, and we talk pickleball. But before we do any of that, we get to a segment that's one of my favorites, and that is where Webby talks about what's going on in Twitter.
Ah, yes, the wonderful world of Twitter. I'm going to go ahead and pull Twitter up right now and see what's on the Twitter sphere. So we got one here from John Denver Bronkosvich. At Eddie and Webby, I love all your pickleball videos. Good luck on the upcoming tournament. Oh, nice. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. That's real nice.
Yeah, that's coming up really quick. I mean, it's just, 2 days after this podcast airs is the tournament.
That's right. 2 days, folks.
Man, getting nervous, but
Yeah.
very excited. All right, let's check another comment here on Twitter. We've got one here from Simon Bowell. Aren't you guys at least 20 years too young to play pickleball? I thought that was only a game for people in assisted living. Yikes.
Yeah, I mean, assisted living, now we're seeing it in prisons. It's being played everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
I don't think you have to be a certain age. You can be whatever age you want to be and still play pickleball.
That's right. Yeah, and I feel like that is a very common misconception. People think it's just for old people, but it's definitely not. And last time I played, there were some like 12, 13-year-olds, and they were doing pretty good. They played in school now in some places.
If you remember a guest we had on 2 podcasts ago, he actually plays with his kids that are very young. So I think you can be any age and play pickleball and still enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. But thanks for the feedback. All right, let's do one more here. Here's one from Pete Rosenberg. I love the Eddie and Webby t-shirts and hoodies you guys have been wearing. How can I purchase one? Oh, wow, that's a very good question.
Yeah, that's not the first time we've heard that question, Pete. A lot of people are wanting to buy them. It might be something we do here in the near future. Keep listening, keep watching, and we'll let you know as soon as we decide on if we're going to start selling them.
And it's funny that he mentions that because I just so happen to be wearing a new style of Eddie and Webby t-shirt.
Ooh, fancy.
The gray with the logo on it. Not too shabby if I don't say so myself.
I like it. A little different play than the black with white logo hoodie that I'm wearing.
Which is very nice as well. And what I would say is if you guys are interested, just keep letting us know. If we get enough demand, we will probably offer them for sale. But we gotta hear from you. You gotta let us know if you want them. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
That's it for Twitter. That's all I got for Twitter.
Well, thank you for that. I love hearing the Twitter comments. I did want to let you guys know that our audio-only podcasts are now available on a ton of different platforms out there. I'm going to go ahead and read off a few. Obviously, it's on Anchor. Anchor's who we use to actually broadcast our podcast through. But they're also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Castbox, Rocket Cast, Radio Public, and Stitcher. So it's pretty amazing. You can access our podcast through all of the major platforms out there right now. Pretty exciting.
If my counting skills are accurate, I counted like 7 things there.
And I do want to let you guys know that if you download the Anchor app and you go to the Eddie and Webby podcast, you have the ability to leave us voice messages as well. And there's a good chance that we'll be able to play them on an upcoming podcast. In fact, later in this episode, we might actually have a few that we'll be able to play for you guys.
Whoa.
Yeah, pretty amazing, huh?
Pretty amazing.
Well, I am thirsty, so I think it's time for us to move on to the beer section. What do you say, Webby?
I think that's a great idea. I am quite thirsty myself.
Well, what beer are you thirsty for today?
Well, it's funny you ask because I just so happen to have a beer with me right now, and this beer is called Florida Cracker, and this is from Cigar City Brewing. And I know what some of you might be thinking or asking yourselves, didn't they already do a couple from Cigar City Brewing? And the answer would be yes, we have.
Super excited about this. This is our third beer from them. And another one that I think you guys will enjoy hearing us review.
The Cigar City Summer Series, if you will.
Yes, the Cigar City Summer Series. I like that. That's a good, catchy name. Let's go with that one. Usually before I pour, we talk a little bit about the brewery itself. However, since this is now the third Cigar City, and I'm going to go ahead and throw a link right here to episode 5, where we actually talk about Cigar City so you can learn a bit about them.
That sounds good.
Yeah. As we crack our beers and pour, I'm going to go ahead and read the description from the Cigar City website on the Florida Cracker. The Cracker Cowboys of Florida were colonial-era settlers, often of Scots-Irish descent, who arrived in Florida when Spain traded their territory of La Florida to the English. The term cracker in Florida usage relates to the whip these cow hunters used to herd cattle in Florida's palmetto prairies. Called cuaquieros by the Spanish, these hardy and hard-working cracker cowboys helped to shape the history of Florida, the nation's oldest cattle-raising state. We brew Florida Cracker White Ale with unmalted wheat, orange peel, and coriander, and then ferment it with a Belgian yeast strain to give it a spicy and dry finish. Perfect for a warm day on the Palmetto Prairie.
Man, another great description.
Yeah, absolutely. Another fantastic description. I love reading these descriptions. They're just so good. And the fact that this beer has a story behind it is pretty cool as well. I know a lot of Cigar City beers are based on history and stories of Florida, which is really cool. Let's talk a little bit more about the beer. This falls under BJCP category 24A, which is a wit beer that is under the Belgian Ale main category. It does have an ABV of 5.5%, which is at the very tippity top of this style of beer. It has 18 IBUs, so it's a very low bitterness or low hoppiness beer. It is available year-round. And let's jump into the appearance, because I got to say, after pouring this beer, it is very pretty. Do you see that?
It is. It's like has a golden glow to it.
Yeah, very coppery, very cloudy, golden glow. But what I love about this beer, and specifically wit beer styles, is the very white head that it produces. It is very cloudy, and I don't know about you, Webby, but I have a ton of sediment kind of floating around in my beer.
Actually, I'm not seeing much.
I wonder if your beer settled out a little bit more than mine. But yeah, I got a ton of sediment floating around, which is typical to see in a wit beer.
Yeah, interesting. So mine definitely is cloudy, but I do not see much floating around in it.
Interesting. I love the fact that you and I getting our beers in different parts of the country means that they're going to have different characteristics. And in this, I think this is another great example of that, where mine is very cloudy, has a lot of particles floating around in it, and yours is very clear. Interesting.
Yeah, and another good thing about this brewery, the fact that it's made in Florida, you can easily get it. But there's a store near my house that sells craft beer exclusively, and they just recently got a whole bunch of different things from Cigar City Brewing. So to me, it seemed like a perfect choice to do a series of beers from the same company, just because we can both easily get it.
I agree. All right, let's jump into the aroma. Give it some sniffs here. Yeah, I'm definitely getting a lot of that orange peel, coriander aroma to this beer.
Yeah, I'm getting that as well.
It definitely smells Belgian-y, and I know for a lot of you, you might say you can't describe a smell as Belgian-y, but from someone that's just experienced a lot of beer, that's immediately what I get. You can smell this and say, oh, that's a Belgian beer.
Yeah, I smell it, and I feel like I'm in Belgium. I've never been there. I don't know what Belgium smells, but somehow it makes me feel that way.
That's funny. Are you getting anything else other than kind of that orange peel coriander kind of aroma to it?
I feel like I'm getting something familiar. I just can't place it. Like, I feel like it's something other than the orange peel.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely has a lot of that orange peel, which is really nice, very pleasant.
Yeah, I'm really liking the scent.
Well, maybe that aroma that you're unable to describe might come out in the flavor. Let's jump to that here.
Ah, yes, the flavor. I love the flavor testing part. I think a little bit fell out of my mouth on that gargle. That was not a good gargle.
No.
But
A little bit came out.
a little bit came out. That's a first.
I'm getting a lot of that orange peel and coriander in the flavor as well. And it's very pleasant.
Yeah, I still can't put my finger on that other additional scent and flavor I'm getting, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, so the flavors you're going to get in a wit beer, obviously a lot of that orange peel and coriander, if that's what's added to it. Cigar City does add coriander and orange peel to this beer, so that's definitely what's coming through in the flavor.
For those that don't know, what is coriander?
Coriander is a spice, actually, but it's something that is typically added to a wit beer to give it that kind of flavor. It's a hard flavor to describe, though.
Maybe that's what I'm tasting because
Yeah.
I can't put my finger on it. It must be the coriander.
Yeah, I mean, coriander is going to be a little spicy, right? So you're going to get a little bit of spiciness from it, but you're also going to get some spicy flavors from the yeast as well. Belgian yeast have a tendency to put out a very spicy flavor, but also kind of a clovey kind of flavor to it as well. And that's coming through a lot in this.
So to be honest, I'm typically not really a big fan of Belgian style beers. I've never really had one that I thought was really, really good. I am enjoying this one though.
So typically, wit beers have kind of a medium body to it. It definitely is a full-bodied beer.
I could definitely see myself drinking this. I can't really say it's something that I would definitely go back out and purchase though. I'm liking it, but like I said before, Belgian style beers just aren't my favorite, and I can't say that this is the beer that's making me say like, oh yeah, I do like Belgian style beers. I'm enjoying it, just not loving it.
Yeah, so a lot of people that don't love Belgian beers, if they're going to be handed a wit beer, they would probably prefer an American wheat over it, kind of like an Oberon. They would probably rather do an Oberon than a wit beer because it does. It has a very unique Belgian-y flavor to it that if you don't like, obviously you're not going to like a wit beer. And that's probably, I would say that's probably what's happening to you right now. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, and I've never been a huge fan of wheat ales either, or wheat beers either. Oberon is one of the few that I do enjoy from time to time.
Anything else about the overall impression of this beer, Webby?
Just one thing.
Very nice.
I'd say that pretty much sums up what I've got to say about that.
Okay. Well, I got to say, this is a very well-brewed beer. Obviously, they balance this out according to style very well. It's not overwhelming with anything. It definitely has a lot of that orange peel and coriander, but that's what you would expect with a style like this. I think it's good. I'm going to agree with Webby, though. It's not something that I'm going to reach for. I typically wouldn't order this at a bar, which it's available on tap all over the place down here. And I think I've ordered it one time. So not a beer that I typically would reach for. If I want to drink a summery beer, I'm probably going to go for something a little bit more hoppy, maybe like Founders All Day IPA, and leave the wit beers kind of where they are. Not really something that I reach for all the time.
Yeah, and I would absolutely go for the Oberon over this any day.
Cool. Well, it's your turn to decide whether or not we chug.
It is my turn. So you know what? I really do think it's time that we have a beer that we sip throughout the show. How However, today just isn't going to be that time. I mean, we got to chug this one. We have to.
There's literally no other choice but to chug this beer.
What are we going to do? Not chug this beer? I mean, that's really not an option.
Can't do it.
So to that I say, ziggy zuggy, oi, oi, oi. 3, 2, 1, go.
Ah, yeah. Wow. I definitely had sediment in mine. It's actually sticking to the bottom of my glass. I don't know if you can see that or not, but
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy because I really don't have any.
very interesting.
No sediment for me.
Well, now it's time that we move on. But before we do, I ask that if you have a beer that you would like for us to review, go ahead and throw it in the comments below, or download the Anchor app and go ahead and leave us a voice message with the beer you would like us to review, and maybe give a good story around it, why it's something that you would like for us to be able to review.
Yeah, you should do that.
By now.
All right, but before we move on to the next segment, I want to bring something up. Some of you might remember a few episodes ago, we did a contest for a free Eddie and Webby t-shirt, and I just got notice that our winner, Kathy, received the t-shirt and wore it to play pickleball recently, and if you direct your attention to the screen, there she is wearing the t-shirt.
Kathy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Kathy. Thank you very much for being a fan of the show.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. That's awesome. Super excited. Hope you enjoyed the shirt. We love seeing it out there.
So I say we switch gears a little bit and talk about some technology.
Okay, I'm good with that. What are we going to talk about?
So a lot of people have asked us if we do these podcasts live, and the answer is no, we don't do these live.
Yeah. Short answer, no. Okay, let's move on to the next topic.
Yep, so that's it for technology. Let's get
Yeah.
on. No. But yeah, so people wonder if we do these live. We do not do these live. People wonder if we're going to do these live. And what do you think about that, Eddie?
Yeah, so I've spent a lot of time really investigating this, and it's a great question. A lot of people are moving towards live podcasts, and I understand why. It's much easier to go live with a podcast, do live editing of it, and then after you're done with the podcast, you're done. It's already uploaded on YouTube. Maybe you're live streaming on Twitch, and you can just save it right there. Basically, all your work is done at that point. So there's a lot of value in doing that.
And also, you can be very topical. I mean, if some breaking news happened just like an hour ago, you can spend your whole time just talking about that on that podcast, and it's not outdated by the time it gets published.
Yeah, that's a good point. Typically, we record these podcasts in advance, sometimes a week and a half in advance. So by the time that you listen to it, it might actually be outdated. So that's a really good point, Webby.
Yeah, but on the other side of things, I feel like a lot of the live podcasts, they tend to go on a bit too long. They drag out for a while. They're sometimes 2, maybe even over 3 hours long.
Yeah.
To me, that's just way too long.
Yeah, I agree. I think that when you get beyond 30 to 40 minutes, you better have some very interesting topics in order to keep an audience's attention. I think that we could do it given the content of what we talk about, especially with us starting to bring on more guests. But I do like to keep it around the 30 to 45 minute range. I think that that's the perfect amount to keep interest, provide value, but not go overboard with the amount of time we're spending on something.
But yeah, I agree. Even if the subject matter of the podcast was something that I love and it's like my most favorite thing in the world, if you talk about it for more than an hour, I'm going to get bored.
Yeah. Good thing to fall asleep to.
Yeah.
A couple other things too. You know, Webby and I are in 2 different locations in the country. And although we do see each other in person frequently, it's not always easy for us to be able to be together. If we were together, I think that live streaming our podcasts or other videos would be much easier. We could have one location. We could have our equipment set up. We could have our cameras set up. We can basically just show up and get a little plan going and then start streaming it. The issue is if he's in Michigan and I'm in Florida, there's not an easy way for us to be able to put our media together in one format that's going to be seamless to our audience. If I'm the one who's streaming, I have to have his streaming video and audio come to me and then stream it. So it's almost like making a copy of a copy. The quality is not going to be the greatest. We can do something like Skype like we do with our guests, and I think that's okay for guests. But when it comes to our production value, we like to be a step above and have very high level quality as well as video for our YouTube audience.
Yeah, and another thing that could happen if we're doing it remotely like that, it could be a delay in the signals. A lot of times if you're watching live news and they have somebody live via satellite, the newscaster might ask a question, and then there might be like 3 or 4 seconds of awkward silence, and then they answer the question, and then the newscaster might think that they can't hear them, so then they'll repeat the question, and as they're repeating the question, that's when the person finally starts answering the question the first time, so it just becomes a whole thing. It gets awkward. I find it hilarious, but it's not good to do for an entire podcast.
Yeah, it can definitely add to some cringeworthy content, but I agree. It's embarrassing. It's super awkward to watch. The other thing is equipment. It's very expensive. For us to be able to put together the same level of production quality that we have here on our podcast and live stream it, even if we were in the same location, you're talking about a significant increase in the amount of money we'd have to invest into it. I'm not saying it wouldn't be worth it, but at the same point, we got to make sure that we're spending our money as wisely as possible.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree. And probably the biggest thing for me is when you're doing something live, I mean, you just get one chance. You don't get a chance to edit. Whatever you say, it's out there. And, I mean, sometimes things happen and you blurt something out that you don't want the rest of the world to hear. I mean, a mouse could run across the floor and I'll scream obscenities or something. Don't want my grandma hearing that.
Once you say it, it's out there in the world forever. With this, if we say something where we're like, maybe we don't want that to be put out there, we have the opportunity to edit it before we put it out on the internet. You say it live, it's out there forever.
But yeah, especially in this day and age, if you say something that offends even one person, they're going to go to social media. They're going to tell everybody that you're the devil. And everything could get shut down in a heartbeat.
Yep. Live streaming is tough. There's a lot of challenge that goes into it. I don't know about you, Webby. It is something that I would like to consider in the future. But I think for right now, kind of following the system that we have is probably best for what we do.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like it gives a much better finished product when you do a little bit of editing. I mean, most of the stuff that airs on our podcast, there's not much editing involved, but just sometimes the slightest bit of editing out some flubs and things like that, just it makes it so much smoother, so much more enjoyable. Or if we drag on, if we talk about something for too long, we'll just cut a little bit out and make it less boring.
Well, thank you, Webby, for that. That was a great conversation. I know I enjoyed it, and I hope you guys did as well.
I sure did.
Well, we're going to go on to a new section of the podcast, a brand new section. We talked about it a little bit earlier, and that is where we are going to play some of the best voice messages we got from our Anchor listeners on this podcast.
Nice.
So here I'm going to play the first voice message from our very first Anchor listener.
Eddie and Webby! Eddie and Webby!
Nice.
Eddie and Webby! Eddie and Webby!
Yeah.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you to whoever submitted that. We appreciate it. That was really cool. Very confidence inspiring. I appreciate it. All right, the next one is from Queen Lulu. Let's listen to this one here.
I love Eddie and Webby because I learned a lot more about pickleball through the Pickleball Anthem, and I think it's really cool to see how they get ready for their tournaments that they do, and I'm excited to see how they do in their tournament in Grand Rapids. I love you, Eddie and Webby.
Wow.
That's awesome. Very cool.
That was so cool to hear. I got to tell you, man, I know we've only listened to 2 of them, but it just, I don't know about you, Webby, but it makes my day to hear what our listeners say to us and interact with us. It's so cool.
Oh, for sure. I don't know about you, but I got a little bit of goosebumps on that one. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, definite goosebumps. That was awesome. Thank you, Queen Lulu, for that. And the next one is from Helps Me Fall Asleep. Let's go ahead and play this one.
Hey, Eddie and Webby, just wanted to leave a message to let you guys know that I love your podcasts. Whenever I put them on in the background, it helps me fall asleep really quickly. So thank you guys so much.
Oh, man. That's kind of funny.
I don't know if that's a compliment or what, but I mean...
It's kind of mean, but kind of hilarious at the same time.
Yeah. I will say that's not the first time I've heard that. My wife has told me that she listens to our podcast to fall asleep. So,
Oh, man.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but hey, we'll
Well,
take
hey,
it.
at least your wife listens to the podcast.
That is true. That is very true. So, thank you guys so much for submitting those. We really appreciate it. Download the Anchor app. Leave us a voice message. We love playing them. We love listening to them. And it's a great way for us to interact. If you have a beer that you want us to review, if you have a tech topic that you want us to talk about, a pickleball topic, or you just want to ask us the random question, go ahead and do it. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, that was very cool. I love that segment.
Yeah. Lots of fun. But on that note, let's move to another fun topic that I know Webby and I both love, and that is pickleball.
Oh, yeah, pickleball. Love me some pickleball. Love it.
Well, it should be no surprise to you guys that Webby and I are playing in a tournament in just a couple days from when this podcast airs in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Man, that came up quick.
Way too quick.
Can't believe it's already time. Wow. I'm super excited, but also super nervous about it because I don't know about you, but I haven't been able to play pickleball nearly as much as I would like to have the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little unprepared. To be honest with you, since it's my first tournament, I don't really know that even if I played every single day for the last 2 weeks, how prepared I would feel. But I do agree with you that I feel like a lot of life circumstances have happened in the last couple weeks that have made it to where I haven't been able to play nearly as much between the weather and travel and a couple other things. It's like I've played significantly less than I normally do when there's no tournament on the horizon.
Yeah, same here. There was one of the days that I normally would have played, I was out of town. Another day I normally would have played, the weather didn't cooperate, and outdoors was our only option to play. So, yeah, things have not gone in my favor to play as much as I wish I could have by now.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what's funny? I actually was able to play recently, and my neighbor just got a brand new paddle. And I played with his paddle for, I don't know, about 2 or 3 minutes, and I loved it. And I was like, oh, I got to switch this paddle. I got to switch it up before the tournament. And I think that's another tendency that a lot of people have is it's like we're trying to find these last-minute little tricks to do better.
Right.
And it's like, I don't think I should switch my paddle. Let's say moving to a new paddle is going to help my game a little bit. I think it could potentially hurt it even more because I'm not used to it, because I haven't been able to demonstrate consistently being able to use it. So that's something I'm battling right now as well.
Yeah, for sure. I know exactly what you're talking about because I battled with that exact situation before my first tournament I ever did a few months ago. And I had just gotten a brand new paddle. I tested it out recreationally, and I thought it was great. So I was like, man, do I use this new paddle or do I stick with what I know? I ended up sticking with what I know, and it was probably for the best because after the tournament, I went with the new paddle for about 2 or 3 weeks, and I feel like I did not do as good overall with the new paddle as I did with the one that I was used to.
Yeah, it's a tough call, man, because obviously you want to set yourself up for success. I don't know about you, but I would love to be able to do well in this tournament. I think that you and I could,
Oh, for sure.
You know, we can hold our own, and I think we could actually be pretty successful. But yeah, it's like trying to get these last minute things in there. It's like, nah, just stick with what you know for right now. And for me, I just want to at least get through the first tournament, see how it goes, and then use that to build off of.
Yeah, I am definitely in it to win it, but at the same time, I don't expect to do good at all.
For our listeners that don't know, Webby and I registered under the men's doubles 3.0. So for pickleball newbies, Basically, there's a scale from 1 to 5, basically, where in half a point increments, where you kind of fall under these categories based on your skill level. And I consider myself to be, honestly, a little bit closer to a 2.5, maybe around a 3, but definitely I play consistently around a 2.5. Well, this tournament, the minimum you can enter with is a 3. So Webby and I entered as 3s. And then last week found out that not enough teams entered as 3s. So we could either back out of the tournament, get a full refund, which was very nice, or be moved up to a 3.5. Well, obviously, we're not going to back down from a challenge.
No, we're not backing down.
No, hell no, no. We're going in, but we are going in against 3.5s. And what I've also heard is that people typically play down from their skills in tournaments. So we're probably going to be playing against a bunch of 4s.
Yes, definitely. We definitely will, because I have learned from experience people play in the level lower than what they should be. So, which that's why it surprised me so much. I thought there'd be tons of people in the 3.0 division that don't belong there. But yeah, here we go. We're going to be in the 3.5 division.
Yeah. I'm super excited about it, though, man. It's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. No matter what happens, it's going to be a great time. And from what I hear, this tournament, it's going to be a whole nother level compared to the one that I did before. And I'm super excited to do it. I can't wait to see how it goes.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm really excited about it, too. Question for you, Webby. How's your back holding up?
So, funny story about that. I played disc golf for the first time this year. And if you guys have been watching the channel, and if you click right about there, you'll see the video I'm talking about. Had a great time. I love disc golf. But during one of the throws, I felt a little tweakage in my lower back, and that's never a good sign. So that scared me quite a bit, because whenever I have a tweak in the back, it usually puts me out of commission for a good week, sometimes 2 weeks. But I've been doing a lot of stretching. I've been working on my core muscles. And at the moment, I feel decent. I feel like I could go out there and play right now. I don't feel 100%. My back is a bit sore, but it's not too bad. I feel like if the tournament was tomorrow, I could definitely play and not be too restricted with my movements. But I feel like I probably just need to rest until tournament time, not do too much physical activity.
Okay. Well, that's good. You definitely need to make sure your back is feeling good and strong. And that's another thing, too, is balancing how much activity do you do leading up to the tournament. Because obviously you don't want to get rusty. You don't want to get stale. You want to make sure that you're still playing. But you also don't want to push it too hard, because then you could potentially injure yourself or set yourself up for, to not be at your optimal physical capacity while you go into play.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I've looked at some of the pickleball forums, and things I've read, it almost sounds like you should kind of take it easy at least a few days or even a week before a tournament. Like, don't play every single day leading up to the tournament. Let your body be in peak shape for it. But at the same time, like you said, I could see like you possibly getting rusty if you don't play shortly before the tournament. Because I know whenever I play pickleball, it usually takes me at least 2 or 3 games before I loosen up enough to play pretty decent.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. But again, super excited about it. I feel really good about it. I feel like we're going to have fun no matter what. And I do feel like we're going to do pretty well.
Yeah, I feel like we'll put up some good competition. We've proven in the past we've only played together twice. That's another funny thing. We're going into a huge tournament. We've only played with each other 2 times, 2 days of our pickleball careers have been together, playing together, and we're going into this tournament. So, but I feel like both times we played, we did pretty decent. We played against experienced players, and we held our own. Yeah,
agreed. It's going to be a great experience. We're going to try and get video while we're there as much as we can. I don't know how much they allow you to, take video or whatnot, but we're going to try and include you guys as much as possible in our pickleball journey, especially with this upcoming tournament. It's a big deal.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and even if we can't record ourselves playing in the game, because I don't know, they might have rules against recording during the tournament, but we'll definitely document our preparation, our pre-tournament and post-tournament activities.
Absolutely. We also have some really other exciting things planned for when we are in Grand Rapids for the tournament too. So,
Yes. Yeah, definitely stay tuned. We've got some big things, some fun things coming up.
Yes, we do. And on that note, guess what?
What?
I think that's the episode.
What?
Every time it just flies by. I don't even feel like we've been talking for more than like 29 and a half minutes.
I know. I feel like we just started like no more than 27 minutes ago. But here we are.
Yeah, like 27 to 28 minutes is where I would feel like we're at. You know, that's crazy.
But yeah, I thought we had some great topics. I thought it was a great time. And I think it was a good show.
I agree. As always, we love to hear your feedback. You can throw it in the comments below. You can download the Anchor app and leave us a voice message. You can tweet to us. You can reach out on Instagram, both at Eddie and Webby. And that's it, folks. I'm Eddie.
And until next time, this is Webby, not Eddie, signing off.
See ya.
And, I mean, sometimes things happen and you blurt something out that you don't want the rest of the world to hear. We'll do it live! See what I mean, folks? Sometimes things happen and you just can't watch your mouth.